Right from the start of The Simpsons, there are a number of iconic running jokes ranging from humorous circumstances to physical comedy to memorable catchphrases.
Excellent.
Choking was one type of physical humor that was repeatedly used in the early seasons of the show, specifically in relation to Homer and him managing to choke himself by either eating too fast or too recklessly.
I swallowed a chicken bone.
Arguably, the most iconic choking joke in the history of the series is from the 7th episode of the 3rd season, Homer at the Bat, which originally aired in February 1992. In the installment, the nuclear power plant softball team go on a winning streak, largely thanks to Homer, ostensibly due to his secret weapon, his self-made bat, only for Mr. Burns to replace most of the team with professional baseball players when the team reaches the championship game. The episode is widely considered one of the best, if not the best episode of all time, and it's noteworthy for a number of reasons, most of which have to do with baseball. But there's a classic joke from the installment that often gets overlooked. In the opening scene of the episode, Homer chokes on a donut after ignoring his workmates' warnings about scarfing them down in a dangerous fashion.
Hey, Homer, slow down! You're gonna choke or something!
Don't tell me how to eat donuts!
At one point, as Homer thrashes in agony, a poster detailing the medical emergency technique for choking, the Heimlich maneuver, can be seen.
Hey, look at this!
The scene is an example of many things that made The Simpsons truly great during the show's golden era from around 1991 to 1997. In addition to the fact that there's numerous varied jokes, from one-liners to visual gags, packed into the brief sequence.
Somebody scare him. That's for the hiccups.
This scene is also a perfect example of the technical aspects of the show that set it apart from other sitcoms, animated or otherwise, with the elaborate blocking and camera coverage of the scene to Homer's detailed frame-by-frame expressions. There's also a hint of character development given the casual indifference by his workmates to Homer's obvious distress, which suggests that Homer hurting himself is a common occurrence.
Hey, Homer's choking again.
Additionally, the joke of Homer choking, and the presence of the Heimlich maneuver instructions, which Lenny only sees because he's looking for ways to help Homer, propels the story forward as the poster is right next to the power plant softball sign-up sheet, which sets the main story of the episode into action.
Hey, look at this! Softball starts this week.
This scene, with its distinct aesthetic, relevant information to the story, with so many jokes packed into it, within around just 40 seconds of footage, makes this one of the best sequences ever seen on television. More importantly, though, is the fact that the scene had a significant impact in the real world. Because, as of March 2023, the scene is being credited with helping to save at least one person's life. Moreover, it's not the only scene from The Simpsons credited with saving a life completely by accident.
Don't tell me how to eat donuts!
During the peak of The Simpsons' success, a lot of parents were concerned about the show being a bad influence on kids, so much so that some even banned their children from viewing the series. However, in contrast, in May 1992, one mother, Karen Benz, credited The Simpsons with saving the life of her 8-year-old son Alex after his older brother Chris used the Heimlich maneuver to save his sibling's life. The two boys had been home alone after school when Alex began choking on a piece of orange and was only able to make gurgling sounds. Chris got behind his brother and squeezed his chest until the piece of fruit popped out.
Finally tonight, a new twist to instructional television. Karen Benz of Auburn, Washington, says when her 8-year-old son began choking on a piece of fruit, his 10-year-old brother came to the rescue using the Heimlich maneuver. And the 10-year-old says he learned the Heimlich maneuver by watching the Simpsons cartoon show on a night when Homer Simpson choked while stuffing donuts into his mouth.
Hey, look at this! Softball starts this week.
Softball?
Interestingly, they did not perform the Heimlich on Homer, but it was the poster that tipped the kid off. Amazing.
It is indeed ironic that the scene doesn't actually show anyone performing the Heimlich maneuver, though such a scene does exist in the Simpsons universe, and it's possible that Chris was also familiar with it and that it contributed to his knowledge of the technique, because, like the one in Homer at the Bat, that specific scene is highly memorable, as it's also widely considered to be one of the best jokes in the history of the series. The scene appears in the episode When Flanders Failed, the 3rd episode of the 3rd season, when Homer wishes for Flanders' new left-handed store to go out of business, which first aired in October 1991, only a few months before Homer at the Bat did. In one scene, Flanders invites the Simpsons family to a barbecue where he announces his plans. At one point during the party, Homer and Flanders pull apart a wishbone. Homer wins and laughs menacingly with a mouthful of food. Inevitably, he begins to choke, leading Flanders to jump into action and save Homer from himself with the Heimlich maneuver. Later, in December 2007, another child was saved due to The Simpsons, after they inadvertently learned about the Heimlich maneuver from watching the show. At the time, it was widely reported that the scene in question was the one from Homer at the bat. Rather, it was yet another joke about choking and the Heimlich maneuver from a different episode that saved the child's life. In January 2010, Fox released the documentary The Simpsons 20th Anniversary Special in 3D on Ice, which detailed and explored the cultural impact of the show's popularity on the world. The special was directed by Morgan Spurlock, who had earlier gained fame from his 2004 documentary Super Size Me, when he explored the popularity of another icon of Western culture, McDonald's, and ate nothing but the restaurant's food for 30 days. During his Simpsons special, Spurlock corrected the narrative around the second official child who was saved by having a friend who watched The Simpsons. Aiden Bateman was 10 years old when he saved the life of Alex Hardy in 2007, and it was after watching the 17th episode of the 10th season, Maximum Homer Drive, that Bateman learned about the Heimlich maneuver. In the installment, Homer becomes a truck driver after an eating contest goes wrong. In the scene where Homer agrees to the challenge of eating a giant steak, Marge is concerned that it could be dangerous. However, part owner of the restaurant, Dr. Hibbett, assures her that he will be safe because the establishment has a Heimlich maneuver machine. The episode first aired in March 1999, but due to the popularity of the show, it was frequently rerun in a number of countries. Fortunately, the show was popular in the UK. Remarkably, as impressive as it is that simple references to the Heimlich maneuver could save lives, it's not the only time, or even the first, that a life was saved by someone after they watched a sitcom and saw the Heimlich maneuver referenced. Of the many iconic episodes of South Park, the 17th episode of the 6th season, Simpsons Already Did It, is one of the most culturally relevant as it underscores just how far-reaching the Simpsons' influence has been on Western culture. The episode first aired in June 2002, and it's even more relevant now in the 2020s as it's ever been. In the installment, Butters, while in character as his alter ego, Professor Chaos, repeatedly comes up with elaborate evil plans only to realize that the Simpsons have already done them.
Well, heck, I thought I was being original.
The episode revolves around the fact that, when it comes to story ideas and plot points in sitcoms, The Simpsons ostensibly have already done everything first, even when it comes to doing parodies.
Yeah, in fact, that episode was a ripoff of a Twilight Zone episode.
However, in regards to sitcoms inadvertently saving someone's life with the Heimlich maneuver, this is one rare occasion where another show actually did it before The Simpsons. The sitcom Benson details the misadventures of the titular character as he works with a well-intentioned but eccentric governor. The series ran from September 1979 to April 1986, consisting of 158 episodes over 7 seasons. In August 1986, a 5-year-old boy, Brent Meldrum, saved the life of his 6-year-old friend, Tanya Brandon, by using the Heimlich maneuver after she began to choke on a piece of candy. Meldrum couldn't even pronounce the name of the technique, but was familiar with it because of an episode of Benson in which the titular character saves the life of his workmate.
What's the matter? What is wrong? Hold it. Hold it. Wait a minute, let me see if I can, wait a minute, let me have it.
The scene is from the episode Lifesaver, which first aired in May 1981, years before Meldrum saw it as a rerun. Remarkably, things could have easily resulted in tragedy had it not been for the episode, as Meldrum's mother had initially ordered her son to leave the choking girl alone, even when she turned blue. Fortunately, Meldrum defied his mother.
Shut up, Mom!
As he insisted that he knew what to do because he had seen it on TV. At the time, Meldrum was the youngest known person to save someone's life using the technique, and he was later given a medal at a ceremony that was attended by Henry Heimlich, the physician credited with inventing the move in 1974. Ironically, in the years since, both Benson and The Simpsons inadvertently saved multiple lives by demonstrating and popularizing the Heimlich maneuver. The technique is now widely discouraged as the first treatment for a choking victim due to the potential inherent harm that can occur, such as vomiting and the additional risk when it's done incorrectly. Rather, it's recommended that a choking victim be encouraged to cough, then slapped on the back if that fails. It's only after attempting those first two techniques that someone should resort to the Heimlich maneuver. So, basically, when it comes to treating a choking victim, people should remember yet another iconic scene from pop culture. The classic 1989 film Field of Dreams, about a man who turns part of his farm into a baseball diamond. In one scene, the man's daughter begins to choke, for which he is saved by a simple slap to the back.
Hot dog.
One of the reasons behind the longevity of The Simpsons has always been the vast range of jokes. Each episode, even the objectively bad ones, still include a healthy mix of visual gags, character-related humor, and references to long-running jokes. Furthermore, during the show's golden era, the speed at which the jokes were delivered with rapid-fire pace that also propelled the story forward made for some of the best moments in television history. Given the decline of the show from the mid-2000s to the early 2020s, it can be easy to forget how impactful the show has been on society. Additionally, with the plethora of classic jokes and scenes over more than 30 years, it's easy to forget many of The Simpsons' best moments due simply to the vast number of them. Fortunately, when it comes to the jokes about the Heimlich maneuver, all three of the ones from the earliest seasons of the show are virtually unforgettable, both because of the jokes themselves, with their distinct and clever humor, and the success of the show that's seen them being played on repeat numerous times in various countries for literally decades. Benson might be the first show that can brag that it managed to save a life by familiarizing the general public with the Heimlich maneuver, but The Simpsons not only managed to save 2 people, but did so completely by accident with one of the best jokes ever seen on television that didn't even actually demonstrate how to perform the life-saving technique.
I always wondered if there was a God, and now I know there is, and it's me.